Hey everyone, Sensei and Soki Briggs here with you again, Thursday night. Gonna do another training video, some of the things that we do in the Kidokime-ryu dojo. We're gonna start by recapping what we ended with on Tuesday night's video and continue on into some new items. Right, Soki?
Right. What's today?
Thursday the 23rd.
23rd, okay. 23rd, I think this is the fourth night of foot.
I believe so.
I
I believe so.
think so, I think it's the fourth night. So we may try to wrap it up tonight. Just depends how long it takes, and if not, then we should definitely be able to at least wrap this up Tuesday night.
Correct. Okay, last thing we talked about on Tuesday night's video was a common
Lunging.
mistake that is made when lunging.
Right. And we talked about the closest distance from me to you from point A to point B is a direct line.
Right.
You know, because the most common mistake made when lunging, most people, instead of going in a direct line when they lunge, they try to lunge up and come down into their opponent. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like I see a lot of it when they try to do a back fist, like they're trying to come down like this with a back fist. And I guess if you're about the same height as your opponent, if you're trying to hit them in the top of the head, which I don't know why, but maybe I'm just trying, and I've been thinking about this, trying to think of some of the reasons why people would do that. But if you do that, it slows you down.
Right.
Because from me to you, if I want to hit you fast, the fastest way I can get to you is here.
Right.
Not here.
Right.
You know, because that takes time. And whenever you lunge up, a lot of times you leave your feet. Now, I'll say this for everybody, and this goes for anything. Anytime you leave your feet, you're vulnerable.
Right.
And I know we teach jump kicks, because jump kicks is part of martial arts, but you've got to realize when you leave your feet, you're vulnerable, because you can't walk on air, you know.
True.
Michael Jordan's the closest person that's came close to doing something like that, walking on air. You know, I think at one time they called him Skywalker or something like that, but that's just a myth because how high he could jump. You can't walk on air. The earth has a gravitational pull. You're pulled to the ground.
Right.
You know, so in order for you to you know, like if I go into you and I see you move, as long as I'm on the ground, I can move in the middle of my moving towards you. I can change directions, move here. But once you go in the air to do something, and if I see you move, I can't change directions. I can't bring that over this way or that way, or just stop dead still. You know, like if I'm coming towards you with something and I see you're about to do something, you know, I can stop that movement. If you're in the air, you can't do that, you know. So because of things like this, anytime that you're in the air, you're vulnerable, you know. And I know we teach jump kicks because jump kicks are part of martial arts, and that's fine. You just got to realize once you go in the air, you're vulnerable. And if you hit me with a punch or with a kick, and if my feet's on the ground, I can absorb that shock a lot better than I can, say, if I'm in the air and you hit me. If I'm in the air and you hit me, you know, I don't have the ground to balance me out. You know, it's easier, I guess what I'm saying is, it's easier to knock someone down if they're in the air, knock them off, well, they're already off their feet, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's easier to knock them back on their back or something like that if they're in the air than it is if they're already on the ground.
Right.
You know, because you're grounded when you're on the ground. And then something else I see a lot of people do when they lunge, and I've seen people do this when they lunge directly from point A to point B or if they're coming up and doing like that, I see them come on one foot and do like that.
I've seen that too. In sparring, I've seen that.
I don't like that. I'm not saying that it's not done, because we both been to tournaments,
yes,
you know, and sport karate, you know, it's all about who hits who first. It's a high-tech game of tag.
right.
You know, it's who gets who first. Kickboxing, or the way that we fight in our dojo, continuous sparring, or if it's a, heaven forbid, a real fight on the street, you can't be doing stuff like that. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for failure. You know, when it comes to point sparring, I guess I can see that, because you're just trying to hit that other person first.
Right.
But and I've seen some point fighters, because I've point sparred and I fought, as you know, full contact kickboxing for a while. And I've seen some point fighters, really, really, really good point fighters that could score on you quick. But you put them in a ring, or even in a dojo, and have them fight 3, 4, 5, 2 or 3 minute rounds, they couldn't do it. They got killed. But on the flip side of that, I've seen people that was really, really good fighters in a ring, or could fight, you know, just if they were training in a dojo, that's how they fought. They were really good fighters like that, but they weren't that good at point fighters. Very rarely will you find somebody that excels at both. And I'm not saying good, I'm saying excels at both. Somebody that can make that adjustment either way, and not only are they making that adjustment, but they're really, really good at making that adjustment. Usually, you know, and all of it boils down to how you train.
True.
You know, if you've got a school that that's all they do is point spar, you know, and they're used to pulling those punches, barely touching them, pulling them back, and there's nothing wrong with control, don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. But if you got a school that practices this high-tech game of tag constantly all the time, and that's all they ever do, you can't expect them to be good, you know, kickboxers.
Right.
You just can't, you know. That's like taking a wrestler and expecting them to be a good boxer, or taking a boxer and expecting them to be a good wrestler. It's two different methods of training, you know, and that works both ways. But and growing up as a kid and in my younger years, and I know we're kind of getting off things here a little bit, I'm just trying to spread it out so we do it again Tuesday night. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, back in my younger years, I used to love to point spar, but I like to mix it up too. Now to me, it's more like real world stuff, real life stuff. You know, it's more, you know, I guess I get into it deeper, the discipline part of it deeper, and when the sparring part of it comes around, it's more of the, you know, I'll give up a blow to get a blow, type, you know, just old roughhouse type of fight. And not saying that, you know, in our dojo that we knock each other out every night, because we don't do that. We practice self-control in there also, and that's very important. But there is a big difference between point sparring and kickboxing. And kickboxing is closer to what you would be doing if you were to get jumped in a parking lot, you know, because I mean, it's just nailing somebody. And obviously, if you get jumped in a parking lot, you don't want to jump up in the air and try and pop somebody on top of the head like that, because they'll kill you.
Yes, they will.
You know, I mean, and I just, you know, I guess I'm more of a practical teacher now than what I used to be. And maybe my ideas and my philosophies has changed a little bit, and we try to teach both of them, but you know, things have changed a little bit for me over the years, you know, as the way I teach. But anyway, and all that ties into this lunging thing. But you know, if you come up on one foot and lunge, or if you go in and lunge and you're just on one foot, or if you go up there, man, if you're just gonna be on one foot, you might as well be off the ground.
Exactly.
You know, because that's lunging one foot. Anytime you're throwing that head out there, I know. Let me just say this: if you're sparring me and you throw that head out there, you better knock me out with it, because even if you hit me, I'm getting you back, especially if that head's out there as a target. You know, because you know how I am. If I see a target, and if we're in class, sometimes, you know, I'll tell you about it the first time. Hey, you need to cover up. If you don't cover up after that, I'm on.
That's right.
You know,
Live and learn.
I'm gonna teach you the hard way. You know, it's I may make it where you won't do it again. And I just don't like leading with a head. I really don't. And there's a difference in lunging and leading with a head as there is, you know, bobbing and weaving, or, you know, something like that. I understand that. That's a big difference, you know. So I don't know. I will say this: if you lunge, and we teach lunging, because we try to teach a big whole concept.
Right.
But if you lunge, you've got to be careful. Don't lead. Try not to lead too much with a head, and try and have that guard up. And if try not to lunge and leave your feet by going up like this. First of all, if I go up and down like that, what have I got exposed to? Oh, right here. Oh yeah, yeah.
Target.
And if I lead and lunge like this and you sidestep, you know, look at. I mean, it's just.
Be smart. Be a smart fighter.
Yeah.
Be a smart fighter.
Yeah. You know. So anyway, that's where we're at with lunging. You know, we teach it, and it's part of the curriculum.
And there's a correct way to do it.
Right.
It is basically what we're trying to say.
And we tell people that in class. Yes. When you lunge, you better be careful when you lunge. Yes. And like you said, there is a correct way of doing it. You know, and it's not jumping up in the air and doing like this, because you jump up in the air and come like that, you know. Just because I'm a prior boxer, I used to box, you know, if I see you jump up in the air and expose those ribs, I'm probably going to tear those ribs up with my fist. Kiyoshi Herforth, he's a kicker, you know, in Aristotle. You jump up and leave those ribs exposed like that, and he's going to kick you, you know. And it just depends on who you're fighting when you do that. You've got to be careful with it, because you're making yourself vulnerable.
Absolutely.
You're putting yourself in a bad position.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a now, and maybe it's just I'm older and wiser or something like that. More mature. Right. I'm more of a cover-up fighter, you know, like this right here, and this exposing yourself, man. You know, the older you get, the longer it takes to heal.
True.
You know, yes. So I'm more of a cover-up fighter now than young and reckless like I used to be, I guess. So, but okay. let's go on with that. I think we've beat this lunging to death.
Okay.
So let's go on.
All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is, what is a blitz?
Okay. A blitz is just a rapid fire. You're going at somebody and it's just rapid fire. You know, and it can be with the hands, it can be with the feet, it can be with the hands and the feet, just mixing it up. And you've seen, we've done this in the dojo. You see it, a lot of people does it, and they really don't even realize they're doing it, but it's just like they're chasing their opponent. Bam, bam. Yes. You know, just going down them, and you're just blitzing like a machine gun. You know, or it's just kick and punch and kick and punch, and you're just basically chasing them across the floor. I mean, you're coming at them wide open, just as hard and as fast as you can, throwing as many techniques as fast and as hard as you can.
We've got a couple in the dojo that do that occasionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a blitz is something that can get you in trouble too. You find one of those counter fighters, you know, and you come at them like that, and they sidestep one time and let you get right beside them, they're going to eat your lunch. You know, it just, for everything you do, you've just got to realize, more often than not, there's counters.
Yes.
For everything you do.
Yes.
Some things that you do, you're more vulnerable than you are at other things. You know, and a blitz goes with a run step. You know,
Yes.
we were talking about the run
Yes.
step. A blitz and a run step, that's the footwork on the blitz, basically, is a run step, because you're just running and you're just opening up on them as you're going toward them. So, I mean, it has its good points and bad points. I wouldn't do it all the time. You know, if you're a blitz fighter, it's like, hey, you know, fighting stance is, you know, hajime, you know, and it's blitz, bow, 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 and then, you know, you get broke, and it's like fighting stance, hajime, bow, 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 you do it again, and then, you know, maybe it won't even take 3 times, but that 3rd time, if you're fighting that same person, they're going to be like, okay, well, I know what's going to happen when they say hajime this time.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come at me, and in their mind, they're formulating a defense for it.
Right.
And they're going to be waiting for you.
Right.
You know, and the next time you do it, they're going to tear you open. So, you know, a blitz every now and then is not bad, especially to grab somebody's attention. But I wouldn't be a continuous blitz fighter.
No.
I don't like fighting blitz fighters, you know, because a lot of times when you fight blitz fighters, the pretty much only option that you have is teaching them a lesson. You know, stop doing that. You know, and a lot of times it's a harsh lesson, and you know, you really don't want to have to do that. But sometimes that's how you have to fight blitz fighters. If somebody blitzes you every now and then, that's fine. You know, but all the time, and like you said, you know, we've got some in the dojo, you say hajime, and it's just like you lit a rocket on their tail end. They're like straight at you, and they're blitz fighters, you know. And how do we get them off? More often than not, you just have to teach them a harsh lesson real quick.
Sometimes they have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
So, but that's what blitz fighting is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's move on to the next type. What is straight rhythm fighting?
Straight
rhythm fighting.
Okay, so straight rhythm fighting is fighting at the same speed, a lot of times in the same stance all the time. It's like, I refer to a straight rhythm fighter as like a public speaker that, what is it that you call it? Monotone.
Talks in monotone.
Like a monotone public speaker. They talk the same volume, no inflection in their voice whatsoever. You know, it's just boring.
Yeah.
It bores you to tears. Well, that's what I kind of put those two together, like a monotone speaker and a straight rhythm fighter. You're going at the same speed. You don't know how to vary your speeds up. You're going at the same speed, a lot of times in the same stance, doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're not changing it up. That's a straight rhythm fighting. You know, you're not changing your speeds at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on the flip side of that, what is broken rhythm fighting?
Now, broken rhythm fighter is a complicated fighter to fight, because a broken rhythm fighter will throw, I mean, they change everything you can think of changing. They'll change their stances, you know, not just right hand fighting stance and left hand fighting stance, but, you know, they'll be upright 1 minute and then they'll be low 1 minute. They'll be coming at you wide open 1 minute, and then they'll be real slow 1 minute. You know, the techniques will be, you know, kind of slow or something like that, and then the next thing, pow, you know, I mean, just everything they're doing, they're changing it up, and there's no rhyme, no reason to it, you know, and it's hard to, now if you're, a straight rhythm fighter is also a type of fighter, you know, if they throw a couple slow techniques, and on that third one, they're opening up and throwing fast. And if it's the same thing all the time, 2 slow, 1 fast, or maybe 2 of the lead hand, 1 with a rear hand, that's still a straight rhythm fighter, because you're still doing the same thing over and over and over. But a broken rhythm fighter is somebody that you never know what's coming next. Their speed, their hand speed, their power, their stances, the way they're moving their feet, different types of footwork, everything. And you just can't read them. You know, it's hard to read a broken rhythm fighter. And a broken rhythm fighter is a very difficult fighter to handle. And that's what I try to teach people how to do, obviously, as you know, change your stances, change your speed, You know, everything you throw don't have to make contact.
Right.
You know, because sometimes you throw things just to set something up to explode on it. You know, sometimes you might, you know, pull that leg up there and pop up a couple of somewhat slow kicks, or you might throw a couple quarter kicks this way and then come around with a hook kick, bam, before they know what's going on. You know, so anything like that changes all that up is broken rhythm.
Okay.
Where we at? Because we're gonna have to stop. I got carried away on lunch.
We're here with line and angle.
Yeah, let's let line and angle, and we'll try and kill the rest of it Tuesday night, because we're trying to keep these videos a little shorter than what we were. But you know, just to recap on tonight, because we talked about lunging, straight rhythm fighting, and broken rhythm fighting, right?
Blitz.
And blitz,
And blitz.
yeah. I don't know between lunging and straight rhythm fighter which is the worst. Neither one of them's good. You can make them to where you can make it, get an advantage out of it if you know how to work it. But both of those situations are dangerous.
Yes.
You know, when you start lunging at somebody, especially if you're leading with your head, because you know all the time in the dojo we're saying, don't lead with your head.
Right.
Get your head, keep good body posture.
Right.
Don't stick your head out there for someone to take a shot at it. Even if you've got your guard up, don't stick your head out there for someone to take a shot at it. And when you lunge, 98 out of 100 people that lunges leads with their head, if not 99 or 100.
Right.
You know, I mean, by far the odds are against you. When you lunge, you're leading with your head. And if you lunge up and out, you're exposing your whole body. Straight rhythm fighting, it's easy for someone to read that and counterattack you. You know, try to be more of a broken rhythm fighter.
Right.
Is the best kind of fighter to be.
Right.
Real quick before we go, because we're already over, remind about you all's homework assignment.
Yes, we all, black belts included, have a homework assignment that is due by 10 p.m. on April the 30th. It is a report on Gichin Funakashi from his birth to his death. Needs to be typed, single-spaced, don't plagiarize, read the material, and then write your report in your own words. And it needs to be either mailed, you can mail it, or you can email it to Soki. No later than 10 p.m. April the 30th.
And people's had over 2 weeks for this, so there's no excuse not to turn this in.
Yes.
And I don't care where you can read it on the internet, you can buy a book about him, it doesn't matter. You know, where you do your research at. You know, I don't care. If you got a video on him, watch that. I don't care where you do your research at. Just make it, when you write your report, just make sure it's accurate.
Yes.
You know, don't just try and throw some fluff in there.
Yes.
You know, because obviously that's not going to work too good either.
No.
You know, and no reason why anybody should have it, because everyone in our class I've emailed our mailing address to, or I've texted our mailing address to.
Yes. And
I have text or the Kidokime-ryu email too.
Yes.
So there's no reason why I shouldn't have it. The reason that if I don't get it, the reason's on you, not on anyone else but you.
Very true.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Remember, we love y'all.
Yep.
We miss y'all. Can't wait to see everybody back in the dojo. Stay home, stay safe, stay well, and we will have another video Tuesday night.
One last thing before we go. Big shout out to 3 people. We've had 3 people that's tested during all this.
Yes,
and we got one that's testing this coming Saturday, and we're having kind of do this a little different for them. And we're not going to go into that because we're just not going to go into how we're testing or how we're getting it done, because I'm not, you know, But anyway, a big shout out to Miss Angela Amick. She got her yellow belt
Yes.
last Saturday.
This past Saturday, yes,
Eli Amick got his green belt
yes,
last Saturday.
yes,
Joanna Brown got her yellow belt today.
Yes.
And Brian Glasgow is testing for his green belt in 2 days.
Yes.
This coming Saturday.
yes.
So,
Moving right along.
yeah. So we're trying not to slow our progress down as much as we feasibly can
Right.
help it. You know, we're just trying our best to stay on top of things. That's why we're making training videos and trying to keep testing.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So, okay.